Hello, everyone. What's up? How are you? It's Thursday, so you're stuck with me, Brian, and of course, my new
And
host, Daniel Payton, author Daniel Payton, right there. He's back because he has power.
yes, I have power. I'm back in the 21st century.
Yes. How long were you without power?
I did the hour count. It was like 45 hours,
Oh my
just
God,
shy
without
of 2 days.
power.
So it was ugly,
I don't
hot,
know.
sticky, ugh.
It,
And it only got worse because there's so much tree damage. We went out the day afterwards to see what was going on and get some stuff. And there's a bridge near our house, and it crosses over a major highway. All of the telephone poles, all the power lines and poles that were across that bridge that put the power across to us have been snapped and thrown in the road. And so that's why we didn't have powers, because the lines were literally destroyed, and they had a dozen power trucks there and people working like crazy on it. And they're like, "Yep, we're not going to have power for a few days." We realized that real quick.
that is not. That's not no fun. No fun not to have power. I would go completely crazy. Ashley, hey, what's up? Everyone is now starting to join us in the chat room. Um, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people than usual because of our guest tonight, which is fantastic. So, uh, Kayla, hello, welcome. Let's see, Ashley. Wow, 45 hours. Yeah, that was kind of,
Crazy.
yeah, it was.
Crazy.
Absolutely. Diane Paint is here. Hey, guys, can't wait for Sylvia. That's what she says. So,
Oh, stupid computer. Oh, sorry.
so I haven't spoken to you since
Before the fourth.
before the 4th.
Yep.
How was your 4th?
My fourth was a little bit on the crazy side. Long day. I have a friend who loves to do a big backyard cookout every fourth, and this is my second year of knowing him. So he spent the whole day smoking ribs and doing barbecue, and then so from the afternoon to the evening, I was there with him and all of our friends out there outside enjoying it. It was nice and warm and humid, but fun. And but one of our friends, my friend, always buys a large amount of backyard fireworks. You know, the small stuff you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a mutual friend of ours, he dropped almost $2,000 in fireworks, shot off half of them on the third, and decided to bring the other half over for this. So he added over $1,000 worth of fireworks to our backyard little display, and it was crazy. Big ones too. You got some big ones. A couple of them you have to have a special license to buy them.
Oh,
So, and, and right in the middle of this, we get started with the fireworks, and there's a girl there that's a friend of ours, and she is not standing in the group in the backyard. She's over by the fence with the fence gate open.
mm.
And I went over and asked her, "Why are you over here?" And she goes, "Well, one time when I was younger, fireworks display like this went crazy and blew up and burned a lot of people, and so I'm really nervous around it. I have to know as soon as something bad happens, there's a way for me to run." And I was like, "Okay, I can understand that. She's been scared." And then halfway through this, the guy brought their boxes that you light a fuse and the box shoots mortars up. Well, right towards the end, one mortar blew up inside the box, knocked it over, pointing straight at the crowd.
Oh,
But the other one, and this was actually kind of the saving grace. The other one didn't shoot out; it also blew up in the box, and so it just shot the sparks straight out. Those can burn you, but not as bad as the explosion if you're right in the middle of it. And I looked up as this happens because I see her just run as soon as the first one goes off. I'm like, "What in the world?" I look up and see a streamer of sparks go right by my face. Didn't touch me. And then I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God." I look over to the group where it just shot straight at, didn't hit anyone. Everybody was okay. So I was like, "Jeez, that was a close call, like a dozen times over." And fortunately, nothing else bad happened. But I've never had an explosion like that on the ground level when we're that close. Half the group walked across the street to the neighbor's yard to watch to get that much further away.
Right.
Otherwise, it was a fun night. I mean, we were there until midnight doing fireworks and just having fun. This kind of group of people, none of us drink, so nobody was drunk. There's no alcohol in this, but just lots and lots of fireworks.
I saw that you post a video on Facebook with some
Yeah.
fireworks. So
Yeah, I have the video. I thought I had it with this computer. I have a couple computers. I don't. It's in a different one that I can share it from. But yeah, I have video that I did a compilation. Since there were so stinking many of them, the video has 3 different videos going at the same time, so you can watch the fireworks all at once. So let me see here.
Yeah.
If I shoot you the link, can you share it? Because I'm not sure how to do a screen share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me run over to that. You chat with the people. I'm gonna be staring at my
Absolutely.
computer.
So everyone needs to just calm down because she's here. I can see her. So it's all right. She is here. People are like, oh, I can't wait. Let's see. Hello to my aunt. My aunt is here. And of course, my grandmother's here. All the important people are here because they know that Sylvia's here. So the numbers just keep rising, which is fantastic.
There's the link for you.
Here's John. Oh, okay.
Hello, John Clark, Amber, Diane, Barbara.
Everyone is here. All right. Let me see. Oh, there it is. So let me pull it up here.
Can you play with it for a second?
Ah!
A lot of noise.
That's loud. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn mine down. Let me share the screen here. Share the screen. I really do like doing this. Which one is it? This one? Yeah, there you go. Can you see that okay?
Yep, I think it's good.
All right. Well,
these are all from the same show. None of these are duplicates. So every one of these is new and different fireworks happening the same, over the night.
All right. Let me. Oop! I gotta hit play, don't I? That would be nice. Let's go back. Here we go.
If you watch towards the end of the video, the screen on the right side, you'll see when the fireworks exploded sideways. You actually caught that on the
fireworks. That's a lot of fireworks.
Yes, it is. I've never had a backyard show as long as this one. I think it's longer than your standard show for a town.
Wow. How come this doesn't happen in my yard? Well, my dog doesn't like fireworks, so this would not happen. This just would not happen.
Mine's okay with them, but outside I don't know how well she would do.
Woo, fireworks. Everyone likes fireworks, right? I'm going to see some fireworks hopefully Saturday.
Since we have so many different small communities all melded together around here, they have their 4th of July fireworks throughout the...
So what happens where?
Okay, I said toward the end on the right side, you'll see it. You may not realize what you're looking at, but it's where it blows up on the ground. So,
is it past this point?
No, it should be. It's very last. I think or next to last video on the right side. So go ahead and hit play. I think here.
Okay.
That right there.
Oh, it's on fire.
It was the very last one on the right side that shows the
Yeah.
one blowing up right at the people. I was crazy.
Interesting.
So as you can see, it was a pretty hefty fireworks tonight. 4th of July evening, and had fun.
Diane Pete says it sounds like a fun time. Wow, very cool. My aunt says the neighbors across the street does fireworks for everyone every year. Or I'm assuming that's what you meant.
We have in my neighborhood back in Tennessee, we had people who were from the Philippines and some people who were from I can't remember. It was another country that they have all kinds of other festivals and holidays they like to celebrate, and they always celebrate with fireworks. And so, since we were technically in the county, and in Tennessee they sell fireworks at big stores all year long, throughout the year, I would all of a sudden just see these big fireworks going off, and I go over there and ask my friends, "Okay, which celebration is this?" And then sometimes it was just basically like 4th of July and Christmas and stuff, but other times it's just festivals and feasts and stuff for their own, and it was fun. So there seemed to be throughout the year quite a few fireworks.
Very nice. Just seeing that Sylvia's having some technical problems. So I think what I'm going to do is hopefully bring her on. I don't see her just sitting there listening anymore. So yeah. Anyways, a lot of people watch it every year. They have a big field. Yes, that's the one across the street. So okay, well, I'm glad you had a good 4th. I worked. That's pretty much that's what I did. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought about you yesterday. I was at Staples.
Oh, really?
Yep. Buying shipping supplies and looking at gaming chairs.
Yes, they're on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there she is. Okay, so I'm just going to move right on. We're going to get to her before she disappears again. Before she disappears. So she has been on my show countless times. You have talked with her when we did the radio show. So technically, this is your first time seeing Sylvia Shults on the screen here. So this is going to be fantastic. Everyone loves when she comes onto the show. We talk about her books all the time. I talk about her all the time myself. So yeah, it's nice having her on, and she knows that. So, right.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Dan. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Very well.
Excellent. It is beastly hot here, so if you don't mind, I've got my fan. So...
Yes, it's yeah.
There you go. See, all on the same page.
Oh.
Yes, I have friends in Okinawa who call this Japanese air conditioning. Afraid we're losing you here.
Uh-oh. Am I losing you again? Yep. She froze there. Uh-oh. She's trying to come through. Okay. All right. I'll wait until I know that she has fixed whatever. Normally she has to move to another room when she does that. She just dropped off. So, all right. So we'll wait for her to come back.
Well,
yeah.
I'll let you know what happened this past week. This week has been one of the weirdest weeks for me.
Okay.
Between a massive thunderstorm that had such straight line winds, it destroyed so much trees in the area. I haven't seen this since the last tornado I went through in Oklahoma. And so 45 hours without power, which was the longest I've ever been. Even through all the tornadoes I've been through, that's the longest I've ever been without power. And thank God it wasn't too hot outside, just really humid.
Mm.
And then we get the power back on, and I have a bucket of things I need to get done by Sunday. So Saturday, I'm rushing around and doing cooking. And while I'm preparing food, I'm sharpening a knife and the knife skips off the knife straightener, and I cut my finger so bad I ended up at the walk-in clinic to have stitches put in. So I'm now sporting 5 stitches and a bandage I keep having to clean and replace. So and at the same time, I have my publisher, 2 publishers, and my game all asking me for new material, new stuff we got to have ready by this coming weekend. So I am writing and drawing and working like crazy and doing it with 9 of my 10 fingers.
Oh, boy.
But the good news is we are on our way to getting Earth's Last Starfleet in print. Braxton is really excited about it. And the guy who did the artwork for the cover for the first book, we got a hold of him, and he wants to come and do the artwork for the second book. So
very nice. Very nice.
So good news there. We got, I mean, all the writing and work I'm doing with the publishers and all, this is really good. I got comic books that we're planning to do Kickstarters for. I've got 2 or 3 books coming out before Christmas. Lots of stuff, but that just means loads of work for me.
I can't wait. She was there. She kind of popped away, so we're just waiting for Sylvia Shults to kind of pop back in. This usually happens, unfortunately. So she'll come back. She'll be on the show, hopefully.
Yeah.
There she is. I'm just going to click it.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's going on. We have got gremlins.
Oh,
Okay, I hope not.
we can hear you now. We can hear you.
Yeah, and we can see you pretty good too. So
I moved to a different place in the house, so you won't see my pretty red office wall behind me. I'm just going to hang out here.
okay,
Don't drop again.
I hope not. All right, so you're here. So what's been going on? How are you?
I am fantastic. I am working on and waiting for another one to come out. I have Days of the Dead, a year of true ghost stories ready to go. And I am waiting on the publisher. I turned it in February, and I'm working with a new publisher on this one.
Okay.
Said, so when is it out? I've given you the book. When is it going to be out? He said, oh, sometime in the fall. I said, oh, okay. So I really don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but I started another one anyway, so it's all good.
There you go. Absolutely.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the new one that you're working on?
Sure. It's really exciting stuff. So when I'm working on Days of the Dead, it's a ghost story for every single day of the year. And as I was doing this is 266 stories. As I was working on this, I realized that there were an awful lot of ghost stories that had to do with people being murdered and killed in other ways and everything. So I thought to myself, how about if I put together a book of true crime stories that happen to have things attached to them? One of my other publishers has been after me for a couple of years to do a true crime book. And I said, well, I don't know if I'm really qualified to do a true crime book. That's really not my wheelhouse. Ghost stories are, but my goodness, they're that.
Oh, no.
Okay, are we back? There are stories that have to do with true crime. So I started on that, and I'm about halfway through the book, so it's coming along nicely. I'm very excited about it.
Sounds to be interesting to do true crime. That's something that I enjoy to a degree. Watching like mystery shows and true crime stuff can be fascinating.
Yeah.
Don't know much I've ever seen that deals with ghost stories, but I'm sure that is a really interesting tie-in that could be quite fascinating, especially finding the true ones, finding the stories of reality behind that, you know?
Oh yeah, and it's really interesting to do that research, and I've gotten a hold of a lot of really wonderful stories. There's one of my favorites is the story of the Donnelly murders in Canada. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. Going to get my notes out. The Donnelly murders happened in 1880 in Canada, and this was the result of a feud that had been going on between the Donnellys and their neighbors, and it exploded into violence on the night of February 3rd, 1880, and it ended up with 5 people dead in 2 different houses, and one of those houses was in flames.
Wow.
And it's just incredibly interesting to find the backstory of this. How did we get to this point? How did we get to a night where 5 people died at the hands of their neighbors? So it was really interesting to work on.
That sounds gruesome and yet interesting. I lived in East Tennessee for a number of years, and we have a lot of, even though it's Kentucky, we have a lot of Hatfield McCoy reference in our culture there.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is I have actually met at least one person who was involved with the whole McCoy family. And they hate 90% of the stories, books, and TV shows and movies based on it because they Hollywoodize it, they romanticize it, or they add what was never there, and so they want somebody to tell the real story. And there's people who have tried, but people want to hear such fantastic and over the top things that never really happened. But at the same time, there's some pretty awful stuff that people don't want to hear about because it's awful.
Yeah, it's a really fine line to walk on finding out. Do you tell the truth, even if it's not really sensational? But then there are other stories that the truth is sensational and the truth is gory and gross. And there are some people that are still alive that this affected. So how far do you go? And that was something that I was always leery of with trying to write a true crime book. I told my publisher a couple years ago, I don't think I really have the chops for this, because if you do something modern, how far do you go with it? How far do you take the story, and how far are you willing to tread on people's toes that still remember this? This is still their personal history. Mm-hmm. So I'm really grateful to have found so many historical stories about true crime that ended up with hauntings.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting journey.
A question I have is, so are you taking this in a narrative or nonfiction, historical? What's the direction you're going to tell this story as?
This is going to be a collection of true ghost stories. This is what I'm good at. There is definitely a place for narrative style, but what I really enjoy and what I think my readers really enjoy is, here's the story. This is the history. This is what happened. And oh, hey, there are ghost stories attached too. So I do tend to write in a very straightforward style, using facts. This is what happened, and it's just a fascinating story in of itself. And then you add the ghosts into it, and it gets even better. So I'm very, very pleased to be able to offer my readers that. The historical part is what really interests me, as well as the ghosts.
Well, I think thinking about this, and also thinking about the book that we talked about before, and forgive me for forgetting the title. It was the one about the Peoria Mental Hospital.
Yes. There have been 3 books written about the Peoria State Hospital: Fractured Spirits, Fractured Souls, and then 4 Years in Darkness was about one of the patients at the Peoria State Hospital.
That's what I'm thinking of. And one of the aspects that I love about that kind of book and this is you're able, even if it isn't sensationalized or spectacular, you're telling the truth. And some people will be happy, family, friends, people are looking at this and saying, this is really what happened. not that, not what you think. This is really what happened. Someone is finally telling the real story.
That's what I aim to do. Yeah. Yeah, there are, when you say haunted mental asylum, you can really get the wrong impression sometimes. And it is my privilege to be able to tell the story of the Peoria State Hospital and to tell the actual history. This was a place of caring and compassion, and I'm so joyful to be able to share that. There are a lot of really interesting things going on at the asylum now, as a matter of fact. We're just about to start 3 ghost hunts. There are ghost hunts scheduled for, let me get this accurate. There are ghost hunts scheduled for 3 coming dates on Saturdays in July and in August. And the neat thing about this is that you're going to be immersed in 3 paranormally active locations at the asylum. Usually when you go, you're in just one place. You're at the Pollock Hospital. But we have expanded the opportunities to ghost hunt at the Peoria State Hospital. You're going to start off at a restaurant that has been, that it used to be one of the asylum buildings. It used to be the activity center. So this is a place where the patients came to enjoy themselves. They came to do crafts. They came to do things they enjoyed doing. Hey, Diane, I'm so happy you joined us. I am going to be there for the second 2. I'm not able to be there for the first one, which is this coming Saturday. I have had previous plans, but I will be there for the second 2. So you start off at the former library, former activity center, and then you're going to go to one of the cottages, one of the men's cottages, which has been purchased by the Peoria State Hospital Museum Group. So they're in charge of that now, and no one's explored it before. This is going to be a brand new thing for people to explore. And after that, we also have access to one of the mines that before the asylum was founded on the hilltop. The hilltop was the site of several coal mining operations. So we have access to one of the mines too that we can explore. So it's just incredibly exciting, and I cannot wait.
Sounds like it. That's a lot of work there, but I'm sure you're going to find a lot of new and interesting things.
That's my hope. That's my hope. When I wrote Practical Spirits, I had a wonderful time listening to everybody's stories. They were so generous sharing their experiences with me. And people didn't stop having experiences when I typed the end. So after a couple of years, I had enough stories to make a second book, Fractal Souls. And that is what is continuing to happen. I'm still getting people telling me stories about the asylum, and hopefully these new investigations will lead to even more experiences. And in a couple of years, I'll have enough for a 3rd book.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that a nonfiction book can do is it doesn't have an ending. And that means is you read it, and then when you're done, instead of saying, "Oh, the end," you're saying, "Oh, that's the beginning of what I know. I want to know more." And so, like me, I didn't even know about Peoria State Hospital until I first met you, and then now I know more than I ever thought I would. And I find it fascinating. And it's educated me.
Did a good job.
It's fascinated me and educated me on the asylum system, the medical system of that time period. So when I write and when I'm studying, I can see that, and it's helped me. You know, it's a brilliant way to move forward. Now, of course, I'm a researcher, I'm a writer, so I want to know more. I dig for more. But I think that's a good thing for anybody who reads nonfiction, is that book should just be the beginning of what you're learning, not the end.
Yes, I agree completely, and I'm very happy that my work helped you in your research. That's wonderful. And yeah, I realized that when I was working on 44 Years in Darkness, I was telling the story of one woman and her experiences. And I realized that very quickly. I used to write fiction. And you're exactly right, Dan. You come to the end of that, you type the end, and that's the end of the story. But this, I was writing about one specific person, but it was a person who actually lived, who went through these experiences. So I couldn't just let her story go. After I was doing it, I realized that there was so much more she experienced that I will never know about. I mean, I'll never meet her. I'll never get to know her, but I hope that I got to know her through writing a book about her, and I hope that I let other people get to know her as well.
Yeah. So, and going on for this new book, which you're talking about, the true crime ghost story, true crime stories. That's the same thing as I said before about telling a story from the truth, not from Hollywood. That right there, and also opening a door. Because, like I said, in my experience with the Hatfield McCoy feuding story, learning the truth changed my understanding entirely of it. Hollywood has always painted them as dumb hicks from the sticks who are just out to kill each other because they're stupid. That was not even close to it.
Right.
And so, and I'm afraid too often they screw it up. So it's good to have somebody who finds any kind of story like that and dig the details, put out there, and then start off by saying, you're not going to be reading a Hollywood play here. You're going to be reading the truth.
That's a very good point. Yeah. And that's the joys of doing research, is finding all the parts of a story. When I was doing research on, I'm going to read a comment here. Yeah, John, I agree completely. That's one of the joys of telling these stories. When I was working on David, I found the story about the Black Donnellys. There we go. The Black Donnellys. And this was a story from Canadian history that the Donnellys were. That's all the information I found at first. Was this murder happened on this date? So many people died, and the reason that they were killed was because the neighbors didn't like them. Well, my neighbors hate me. so I'm like, I know for an absolute, complete 100% fact that there's more to the story than that. Because there's more to my story than the fact that my neighbors hate me. So I did some digging, and it was really fascinating. Yes, they're known as the Black Donnellys. Yes, they had a bad reputation as troublemakers, but they were not the ones causing all the trouble. It was a lot of different facets in this story that all came together in this night of violence that ended up with violence spread. So, yeah, going back, and this feud went back decades, and in fact, it went back generations, back to Ireland, where the Donnellys came from, because it was a whole Catholic versus Protestant thing that began decades, but a couple of centuries before the Donnellys were born. Tracing that back was really fascinating exercise.
So this happened, you said, in Canada?
Yes, in London, Canada.
Have you traveled there, or are you going to travel there?
Oh man, I wish. I wish I did, and I did an interview with somebody from Canada, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's like half an hour from where I live." And I said, "So you've been there?" He says, "Oh, I've been there tons of times." I'm like, "Oh, that is so cool." Yeah, amazing the people you meet when you do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It would be interesting, I think, to go there while you're working on this and get some of the anything local that still lingers about this.
That is the fascinating thing about getting to do writing like this. I have been to the Lizzie Borden house.
Mhm.
And I've investigated there, and that's going to be one of the stories in probably the second of the series. But yeah, it's always a treat to be able to get that personal take on the story that you're writing.
Yeah, I was working on a book years ago for a fantasy series that's now unpublished, but the story has part of it in St. Louis, Missouri, and out of sheer coincidence, I ended up in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of writing it. So,
Nice.
and the fun thing about that experience, I say fun, I'm glad I wasn't arrested. Was, and this is fantasy, and in this story, the bad guy ends up destroying the arch in St. Louis and does an amazing amount of damage to the river. It's big magic battle. So I am in the Jefferson Memorial Freedom Park area, and talking to a park ranger. I'm looking at the big arch and just kind of gauging it, looking at the buildings. And he comes over and says, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah. How tall is this?" It's so tall. I'm like, "Oh really? Okay. If this fell over this way, which buildings would it hit?" He gave me the funniest look. The crazier thing is that I just looked at him and said, "Oh, I'm writing a book about this." "Oh, okay. Well, if it fell this way," he just totally gave me anything. I could have said, "How do you bomb this?" "Oh, just right there." I feel like, dude, all I said is I'm writing a book.
I love a writer because you can research the craziest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody will blink an eye. You just say it's for a book, and they're like, "Oh yeah," they're completely helpful. You can order any book you want to on Interlibrary Loan, and your coworkers don't think anything of it. I'm the one who sits in the library break room reading the Merck's Manual of Infectious Diseases, And everyone's, "Oh, working on another story? Yeah."
Well, okay. I mean, online, I just posted the question a couple years back. I said, how would somebody die and what kind of way if they swallowed glass in liquid? And people were just throwing answers out at me like, "Oh, this is how you..." I'm like, okay, I'm not personally going to murder anybody, but
Yes, and I discovered in my research that actually poisoning someone with ground glass is really, 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 really hard to do, because you have to grind the glass extremely fine so that it doesn't crunch between people's teeth and they know it's there. I mean, if it's any bigger than a grain of sand, they're going to feel it and they're going to realize it's there and they're going to stop eating food. And if you grind it much finer than sand, it's not going to do anything. So that's why more people are poisoned with ground glass, I think. Which is the best hunt that you have done? Oh, wasn't that me? Probably. Okay. Oh man, I have a real soft spot for the Peoria State Hospital, of course, because that's my stomping grounds. It's 10 minutes away from the front door, and I've had a lot of really wonderful experiences there, including meeting a spirit in the basement of the Pollock, a young man named Chris. And he and I have become friends, oddly enough. I'll tell you guys, the most amazing place just recently. It's called Malvern Manor, and the reason it only became known as Malvern Manor in past few years. It started off as the Cottage Hotel in the 1880s, and in the 1950s, it stopped being a hotel and it became kind of a care center where people with developmental disabilities would live, people with addiction problems would live there. And that's what it was. It was the Nishna Cottage for quite some time. And it only closed in 2005. So it's not been closed for very long. But the people who bought it after 2005 realized that it is resplendently haunted. There is a lot of activity here. I visited it last May of 2019, on my way back from the Villisca Axe Murder House, because it's very, very close. It's 15 minutes away. And I could tell, I'm about as sensitive as this desk right here. And I could tell there was stuff going on in broad daylight. So I went back at the beginning of June this year for an overnight. And I got to sleep overnight in the rooms. And it was amazing. It was so fun. So the experience I'm going to share with you happened very late in the evening. It was, the ghost hunt was over at 2, and this is about 1:30 in the morning. So activity had ramped up. We were having just bunches of fun. There were 3 other female investigators and I in one of the hallways of the nursing home. And this particular hallway is the Shadow Man's hallway, because there is a shadow figure that will come out of the locked door of room 2 and rush you down the hallway, like cover the length of the hallway in seconds and be right in your face. And this did not happen to us that night, but it has happened hundreds of times to investigators. So we were really eager for that. Unfortunately, it didn't. But we were in the hallway, and one of the investigators said that she was feeling headachy. Another one said she was feeling nauseous. So we knew there was energy around. And then the one investigator who said she was feeling headachy was sitting on a chair in front of an open doorway. It wasn't numbered, so we didn't really know what to call it. It's just referred to as the dizzy room, because you can go in there and you start feeling dizzy. So it's just referred to as the dizzy room. So she was sitting there. I was in the hall behind her, and she had a pair of dowsing rods in her hand and asking questions, and the rods would cross for yes, and they would go apart for no. As she's sitting here holding these dowsing rods, the rods pointed to the room, to the open doorway of the room, and then they pointed towards me. Undeniably towards me. And the other investigator said, I think something wants you to go into the room. I said, okay, fine, I'll go. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm a little pushy anyway. So I had been in this room a couple hours before, and absolutely nothing had happened. I walked around the room, didn't feel dizzy, didn't feel anything. But here at 1:30 in the morning, it's a different story. I go into the room, and I stand there, and almost immediately, I start feeling dizzy. I start feeling this sense of vertigo, and the floor underneath me starts moving. It's like a funhouse floor. It's like standing up on the floor of a moving train. You can sense that movement. And I just started kicking. It was so amazing. And then I started recording on my phone, hit the record button on my phone. And I stood there just experiencing this, had my knees soft so I wouldn't lock my knees and fall over or anything really weird happened. And then as I was standing there, this is so amazing, I felt this electrical current spin in my arms and legs, just full body electrical current just zapped right through me. It was like grabbing hold of a live electrical wire, but it didn't hurt. It was just tingly. I looked towards the hallway where the other investigators were, and I said, this is so trippy. It was just a blast. So and it got to be a little intense after several moments. So I went back into the hallway, and I stood there for a second, and everyone was like, are you okay? I'm like, I am so far past okay. This is so great. And I was like, what am I doing out in the hallway? I need to be back in the room. So I went back in there, And I looked down at my phone, and my phone had shut itself off 12 seconds into the recording. It captured none of my reaction. I was so mad. So I turned the phone back on, made sure it was recorded, and I said, "Do it again." And it didn't happen again. The floor was still moving, but I never get that amazing thrill of electricity again like I did that one time. It was just that one time thing, and it was so amazing, and it was really, really incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, lots and lots of energy in that building. So yeah, and then as I said, we closed up the ghost hunt at about 2:00 in the morning, and I went upstairs to one of the patients' rooms, and I slept there for a while. The room I slept in was Susie's room. Susie was a middle-aged woman who had the mentality of about a girl, and she loved her favorite color is pink. So people will bring her pink toys, they'll bring her candy, and they'll bring her coloring books and crayons and colored pencils and whatnot. So I actually had to move a boatload of coloring books off of this mattress so that I could lay my sleeping bag down on the mattress and go to sleep there for a while. And it was really, really hot. It was the beginning of June, but it was just beastly hot on the second floor of this building, which is where this room was. And that was good, actually, because I could tell myself that all the sounds I was hearing from the hallway were simply the result of the building contracting in the heat. But that didn't explain the footsteps that I heard out in the hallway. And it didn't explain the woman's laughter I heard in the hallway while I was trying to sleep. So, yeah, that was fun. Good time.
A lot of people brave enough to sleep in that, but
it was wonderful. I will admit that I slept with my glasses on, and I slept with my flashlight in my hand with my thumb on the button.
You know, I never asked you. Did you ever find out if there's spirits in your house? Did I ever ask you that?
You have not asked me that.
Okay.
I think spirits come to visit every once in a while. There's no evidence of a continual haunting, which is fine with me. I do think that spirits come to visit me every once in a while. There is a really wonderful way to find out if there are spirits with you. Your body, your own human body, is one of the best investigative tools that you have. And a fellow ghost hunter taught me this trick. She's a psychic medium, and she taught me this. If you stand in the middle of a room, wherever, just plant your feet so that you're standing comfortably, and you say something that you know to be true. Say, I really like banana splits with chocolate ice cream. You can feel your body tilt forward like that. Then you resettle yourself and you say something that you know to be false. Like I can say, I really enjoy eating pasta with squid sauce and mushrooms. And you can feel your body tilt backwards like that. So that gives you what you know to be true and false. Lets you know how your body is going to react to something true and how your body is going to react to something false. So if you're in an environment and you don't have any other equipment with you and you are curious as to what's around you, you can settle yourself and you can say, are there any spirits with me right now? And if you tilt backwards, no. And if you don't tilt at all, that's a no, because there's no energy there to affect your body. So there was one New Year's Eve that we had company over and we were eating a plate of nachos and we were just enjoying each other's company. And one of my cats was staring at the corner of the room. And because I was there, and because everybody knows me, everyone's like, oh, the cat probably sees a ghost, ha ha ha. And I was like, oh yeah, ha ha. I just kind of laughed it off. But then I went to the kitchen. I excused myself. I said, I'm going to go get another glass of wine or whatever. So I went to the kitchen, and I very quietly, I said, is there anybody here tonight? And my body tilted forward, and I said, well, is it so-and-so? Is it so-and-so? Is it so-and-so? Is it, I just went through this list of people I knew who could have been. And I said, is this my mother? And my body tilted forward, and my mother came to visit me. So maybe.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really cool. And then I was a radio interview which had video, just like this one, a few years ago. And there were 3 hosts. And I was watching all of them, it's like I'm watching you two now. And 2 of them were psychic mediums. And I was telling a story about the asylum, and I could see one of them. What is that? What is that over there? And I finished my story. I'm like, all right, I can see you guys. You're pointing at something over my left shoulder. What is going on? What do you guys see? And the 2 psychic mediums said, well, we can see a male figure over your left shoulder. And like a dummy, I said, oh, where? And they're like, oh, it's gone now. I'm like, oh, great. Okay, super fine. And they were like, well, it's somebody, it's not a relative, but it's a male figure who is close to you and is protective of you. I'm like, okay, I wonder who that could possibly have been. And I talked to my husband's aunt, but she claims me as her niece. We're very, very close. And she also is sensitive. And she and I came to the theory that it might be my husband's biological father, who was just popping in to say hello. That would have been my husband's aunt's brother, who was killed when he was very young. And she was like, yeah, I think that's who it was. I think that's who came to visit you. So yeah, I think they pop in every once in a while, but there isn't a spirit that hangs around my house on the regular, I don't think.
I only ask because we can hear you perfectly fine, but we cannot see you.
No! Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So someone was commenting earlier. I mean, I can make you out. You have lines like going all the way across. And,
Really?
but we can hear you. I can sort of see you. But one of the people watching was like, a while back, John was like, it seems you have spirits that don't want you talking about it.
Ooh, that could be. That could be.
Yeah.
I see you 2 up top.
Mm-hmm.
And I see me down at the bottom, and we're all perfectly clear. I'm not having any visual issues at all.
To me, it looks like you're talking to me through Venetian blinds.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't have anything this end at all.
Yeah, but we can hear you perfectly fine, though.
Good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can sort of see you. I'm pretty sure people, they can see you, but I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, so I just I thought it was funny because I'm like, what's going on here? Every time I talk to her. Yeah. Oh, we have new comments. So before I forget, we have so many people watching right now. So if anyone has any questions for Sylvia, now's your chance. Ask your questions. So here's my aunt again.
What's the worst experience that you've ever had? Oh, worst. Gosh. Oh, oh boy. Okay. In a nutshell, the living can often be scarier than the dead. I was with USPR, U.S. Paranormal Research, last June. We went to Waverly, and then the next night we went to, we split our group, and half of us went to Masonic temple, and the other half went to a cemetery out in the middle of nowhere. And we got there just before dusk. We got to investigate it as the sun was going down. Really extraordinary. Casey Cemetery outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And it was, we were wondering if we had the right directions, because it was way down this narrow, tiny gravel drive. We finally reached it. It was at the end of the drive. We started investigating and started filming, started recording, and we realized that another car had pulled up. And this was in June of last year. And it was right around the time of the Breonna Taylor killing.
Mm.
So we were supposed to have been met there by a member of the local law enforcement, and he had his hands full. He was not able to be out there with us. So this car pulled up, and we all went back to our cars, and we just stood there watching this car, and the people were not getting out. And we're like, what's going on? This is weird. Why are they not getting out? And they finally got out, and they were asking us what we were doing there and everything. And we said, well, we're investigators and exploring the cemetery. And they're like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, we're looking for ghosts too. And we're like, yeah, no, you're not. And we just got into our cars and drove away, because we didn't know what intentions these people had. And at one point, the driver reached back into his glove box of the car. We didn't know. And we're like, you know what? We're leaving right now. So that cut that exploration short. But yeah, we didn't know what was going on. And we just started driving back down this tiny little road and realized that the car was following us. We're like, nope, we're done. Floor it, get back onto the highway. So yeah, that was nerve-wracking. It was a really intense place to begin with, because there were a lot of child's graves there, and it's supposed to be crazy haunted anyway. And then you have these weird folks showing up out of nowhere, and you don't know what's going on. And we're like, yeah, we just noped out of there. That was an unsettling thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, I would say you probably haven't encountered a ghost who brought a gun or a knife to the meeting, but people can.
Yeah, people are perfectly capable of such things.
Yeah. So any other questions?
Oh, I do. Now that, I don't know how it is in Illinois, if the restrictions have been lifted. Are you able to go out and do things now? And are things kind of getting back to normal where you are, as far as being able to go back to ghost hunting and all that good stuff?
Yes, they are. I'm getting back. So, everything's starting to open up now. I work at a public library, and it lifted our mask requirement for the public, not for the staff. Still has to wear masks. Just got so many kids coming in, and children under 12 can't get vaccinated yet. So we're like, yeah, we'll just keep wearing masks. That's okay. But patrons that come in don't have to wear masks. We just leave it up to the system. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're not, we really appreciate it if you would. And it's like that in pretty much all of the businesses and places that are open now. It's beginning to get back to normal. And I went to Malvern Manor at the beginning of June, and it's a pretty big place, so we were able to be far apart from each other, and I think pretty much everybody there said they were vaccinated anyway, so we didn't have masks on. So yeah, it's normal.
There you go. All right.
How about you? Are you have things started opening up around you guys?
Somewhat, yeah. I'm in Michigan, so we locked down pretty darn hard here. So there's still some stuff you can't do, but for the most part, they've opened up a bunch of things. And
Okay, John has a really good observation here. I think you should replay this when done. Hear an echo, but also something else in the audio. So there are people that are better than I at catching EVPs when they go past. I can catch most of them, but there are other people that catch other voices. So thank you for noticing that, John.
Yeah, I would relay a story here that I found. I find it funny, but it unfortunately undermines some of the what people might teach. Is that there was a couple back in Oklahoma that started hearing voices on the channels. This is way back in the early 90s, so before HD television, before all the digital stuff. And it was a snow channel. It was one of those channels that didn't come through with anything. They were hearing voices. They were hearing voices through it. And so they started, trying to record it. They couldn't get it. They started a religious cult that would meet in their house to listen to these voices.
Oh.
Then a professor from the university came in because someone said, I don't understand what this is. Can you at least tell me what the channel is? He went and did the measurement and then retuned the channel. They used a satellite dish. The satellite dish was accidentally slightly tuned to a military channel, and they were getting in some of the air traffic stuff from Tinker Air Force Base. That was the voices they were hearing. And so this whole cult had formed around air traffic controller talk over snow and television. I was like, oh. So,
that's hilarious.
So when I hear people who are like, I hear voices through my electronics, I always think back to that. I'm like, okay, you have to be really certain before you say that. Okay, please be certain before you make a big deal out of that.
Do your due diligence. There was a group that I belonged to in the Peoria area that I was not alone on this investigation because I had to work that night. They went through an investigation down in Springfield, and the woman had called us and said, there are ghosts in my bedroom. I hear voices. I see things. And we went and did the investigation. Well, the group went and did the investigation. I wasn't able to go. And they found out that there was very high reading of energy, electronic field energy in her bedroom. And they said, we would suggest that you get your bedroom rewired. And she did, and she never had problems with the spirits again. That's all it was. It was really high, just messing with her senses.
Crazy. I've only experienced one thing in my life that I've noticed, anyways. And I was on Lights Out with Sylvia, so I explained my story with her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which is still on YouTube, people. Go listen to it. It's a good show. All of them are. So, yeah.
Yes, I just posted the 100th episode. I was very excited about that. So, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going back to Gettysburg this year, but I did kind of a Gettysburg series leading up to the 100th episode. And yeah, there's some interesting stuff there. For episode 99, we investigated an 8-acre yard. It's these people's backyard. And it's an 8-acre plot that used to be a Confederate field hospital and a Confederate camp during the Battle of Gettysburg. So that was absolutely amazing. I was there with U.S. Paranormal Research a couple of years ago. And that was a really interesting night. I have a dear friend who is a psychic medium, and her daughter is too, and had decided to do some investigating at, we called it the Unbound. There were 2 campfires at this house, and that these people house to investigators and their backyard, which was this 8-acre section. And to be hospitable. They put together a bonfire in the backyard, and there's another bonfire site out in the woods. And the guy said, I can't keep this lit. It's out in the middle of the woods. No matter how I try, I can put kerosene on it. I can put lighter fluid. It will not stay lit for more than 10 minutes. And we figured that out in the middle of the woods, these are Confederate soldiers in these woods. They probably don't light a fire out in the middle of the woods where anyone can see it. So we referred to it as the unfire. So we were sitting around this unfire. It was me and Liz and her daughter Angel. And we were getting some really wonderful evidence on the spirit box. We invited the soldiers to come sit with us, and I poured out some water for them. And through the spirit box, we got thank you and we got more please. And they were really enjoying sitting with us and singing Dixie. And you can hear it on the lights out here. And we were just having a wonderful time conversing with these Confederate soldiers. And Liz said that one of them reminded her that actor with the big white bushy mustache. I can't remember his name right now. Drat. It's escaping my thoughts right now. But he's got this beautiful, rich, deep voice. And she's like, yeah, it sounds like this guy. And all of a sudden, Liz and Angel said, we have to go now. And I trust both of them implicitly. So when Liz says we have to go right now, I pack up my stuff and I go. And I led them out of the woods. We found the trail. We went back to the backyard where the bonfire was burning. And everything had settled down. And I turned to Liz and I said, you want to tell me what that was about? I mean, can you enlighten me as to why we left the woods so hurriedly? And she said, you didn't hear that? I said, hear what? I have no idea what you're talking about. Liz and Angel. Sam Elliott, yes, thank you. Thanks, Diane. So Liz and Angel both heard the roar of a bear in the woods. They were so convinced that they had heard this. They thought it was an actual bear. And there are black bears in the area. They had closed down its charge for a couple hours just a few days before our visit because there was a black bear wandering around the battlefield. So they're in the area. And they heard it, but I didn't. It didn't even come out on the recording. They just heard this bear growl. So that was a really interesting thing that happened during that investigation.
Wow. I've never experienced anything. Not yet. Just once. It doesn't happen to me unless I just don't pay attention. So, yeah.
There you go.
So we're going to have to wait until the fall.
Yes. But rest assured, I am working on it. So we might have to go at the same time. Who knows?
That would be nice.
That'd be really awesome. And I'm happy to say they've collected so many stories of murders with hauntings attached that Grave Deeds and Dead Plots is going to have more than one book in the series. I think it's going to be 3 or 4 or maybe 5 books in the series. I'm very excited about that.
You have that much to do.
Yes.
Wow, that
yes,
is impressive.
And they're from all over history. They're from the colonial period. They're from over in England. They're from other countries. They're from the 1950s. They're from the 80s. They're just such a wide range of true crime stories that end up attached to them, and bad for them, good for me. Good for my audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone else have any questions for Sylvia before we've already gone over an hour. Can you believe this? This happens every time Sylvia comes on. So it's normal. It's normal, folks. And they have not once said anything. If anyone has any other questions for Sylvia, just let me know. Post them on there. So
I have one for Sylvia that's kind of a personal thing here.
Sure.
Have you ever read the Winter Wizard Chronicles yet?
I have not yet read them, but I am happy to say that I am currently doing interlibrary loan at the library. So I am in a position to get those from another library. So I will definitely look those up.
Well, I just want to say, because I put the character of a ghost named Sylvia in this book, and I was fascinated to see what you thought of the character in here.
I will definitely look that up.
So I'm very interested. So I'm thinking if closer to the release of this book, preferably nearer to Halloween, we could do our the next interview. And if you've read it by then, I could ask you your thoughts on my interpretation of Sylvia.
That would be so cool. That would be.
Everybody knows that
I'm willing to give you an e-copy if you have an e-reader, because since you're in it, you definitely deserve a copy.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I can. I've got Kindle set up on my tablet, so yes, I would. I'd love a copy. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, get me off here on Facebook, and I'll tell you what you need to do, and I'll send you a copy.
Thank you.
So I don't know if we have more questions. So
yeah, no. I don't think I do. Everybody knows that she's going to be coming back towards. I mean, it's a thing that happens every year. To talk to her before Halloween is a treat. So, and then people just have to wait until fall. That's usually what happens, I think. Yeah. So that's about it. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you again.
Thank you. It was a real joy to be on. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I think people just kept asking, and of course, paranormal is one of the genres that people have been rooting for. So I figured we would kick it off with, Sylvia Shults, and of course, everyone's okay with that. So,
and yep. I am delighted to join you anytime you ask.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for everybody who's in the chat room. Thank you for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Valerie. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, Amber.
Yeah, everyone is saying. But before we go, so
I'm joined in. Thanks.
Yeah, it's always good to see Diane. So. Yeah, everyone is pouring in messages. So, so before we go, Dan had some other exciting news for a show that's going to be coming up.
Yep.
That people are going to want to pay attention to. I'll make sure to let everybody know about it. So, I have been telling people of the possibility of actor Jeremy Roberts coming onto the show, who I can't wait to talk to because he was in Star Trek movie and TV shows, but he's been talking with you. Mm-hmm. So this is very exciting. So I'll let you talk about it.
Oh yeah, we'll be definitely making more announcements about this. I've talked to Mr. Roberts over the past 2 months to get him, around to figuring out when we can have him on the show. So on August 12th, at this point, that's the plan. On August 12th, he's going to be our special guest. And for those of you who are scratching your head who may not know who he is, if you've ever seen the movie of Sister Act, he was in that one in the bar scene. He's the one who plays the jukebox. He played in Herbie Reloaded in 2005. He has played in 113 different acting credits over his acting career. Wow. And of course, the one that we want to talk to most because of Brian and I is Star Trek. He played in Star Trek, the 6th movie, and he played in an episode of Star Trek Voyager. So as Valtane on the Excelsior. So we're going to have a lot to talk about with him, and I'm excited about having him on.
That is magnificent.
Yep.
It is.
I'm my magic. I've got a few connections with famous people because of all the Comic Cons I end up doing, and I'm trying to make it pay off.
That is super cool.
Which reminds me, I did a Comic Con a while back, and the people right next to me they did a podcast. They were ghost hunters and did a podcast. And as I'm sitting here listening to them talk right before they pack up to leave, they say, "Yeah, I'll meet you in Peoria." And I was like, "Did you say Peoria?" And I said, "Where are you going?" "Oh, the hospital." I said, "Okay, I know about this."
Nice. Do you remember who it was?
Not off the top of my head. It's been a while back, but I did stop them and recommend your book to them because I was like, "You got to read this. You got to read this."
Thank you, Dan. That was very exciting.
So, okay, I think we have definitely run over time tonight.
Yes, it's always a good thing.
So we can thank
Sylvia
for coming on tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And you always make it fun. And yes, you're more than welcome to come back. We're looking forward to that, especially closer to when this book comes out, so we can talk about it and look into it and talk about other stuff, of course.
Yeah.
So I'll say good night.
Okay. All right. Again, Sylvia, thank you for coming on. I will be in contact with you for our next time. And we'll go from there. So good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to tune into us next Thursday for Dan and I, and then of course tomorrow.
My little show I'm doing. I'm trying to actually move it to 8:00 instead of 9 because that's kind of working time-wise better for me. So my show will be going live at 8, but it's always recorded. So if you miss it, you can watch it in the recording.
You're going live at 8? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 8:00.
8:00. All right.
I'm trying that out for a bit, seeing how well that works.
Perfect. All right. Well, I will see you tomorrow night. I will speak to you at some point, and I'll see the rest of everybody next Thursday. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later. So
bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.